You ever try to pump yourself up with positive thinking, only to find you're, well, still stuck? Today, we are pulling back the curtain on what really drives us. We're going to find the hidden engine that's actually powering everything you do. So yeah, let's find out what's really driving the bus.
Okay, so picture this, because it's a brilliant way to think about it. You're on this bus, and it's careening downhill. You can stand up, you can shout affirmations, you can try to feel better, you can even decide you're going to walk to the back of the bus instead of the front. But if that bus is heading for a cliff, none of that surface-level stuff really matters, does it? The final destination is still the same.
And that, right there, leads us to the most important question of all. If all our willpower and positive thinking isn't in the driver's seat, then what is? What's the invisible force that's actually steering your life? Because if you want to change direction, you first have to figure out who or what is behind the wheel.
The great philosopher and psychologist William James was really onto something here. He pointed out that the key isn't just about changing what you do, it's about changing your entire attitude of mind. This is our first big clue that the real work happens on a much deeper level than we usually look.
To really get this, let's use a different metaphor, one that's super powerful. Think of your motivation like a giant iceberg. All the stuff we normally see and focus on, that's just a tiny little tip sticking out of the water.
So yeah, above the water, you've got the obvious things. Your behaviors, your day-to-day thoughts, your feelings. But the real story, the real heavy lifting, that's happening way down below the surface. That's where you find this massive, invisible foundation. Your hidden beliefs, your deep-seated attitudes, your core values. That's the stuff that's really driving the bus.
And what this really means is you can't create any kind of lasting change by just tidying up the top. You can polish that little tip of the iceberg all day long, but it won't change the direction it's drifting. If you truly want to shift things, you have to get down to the root cause. You've got to work on the 90% that's underwater.
All right, so let's go. Let's head down into that engine room. We're going to take a look at the 3 core hidden beliefs that make up that massive foundation of our motivational iceberg.
First up is what we call the probability belief. Now, this is not just wishful thinking. It's that deep, gut-level conviction that if you do X, Y, and Z, it will actually lead to the result you want. It's your brain's quiet little calculation of, okay, for real, what are the chances this is going to work?
And you see this play out in some incredible ways. Take the explorer Ernest Shackleton. His crew survived an impossible 2-year Arctic ordeal. How? He didn't just hope they'd make it. He practiced what's called pessimistic optimism. He built an unshakable probability belief by planning for every single thing that could go wrong. That preparation made their survival feel probable, not just a long shot.
You know, the famous architect Frank Lloyd Wright absolutely nailed it with this. It's not just about wanting something to happen. It's that core fundamental belief that it will happen that actually kicks the whole process into gear. That's the real power of a probability belief.
But just believing something is possible, that's only part one of the engine. The next piece is social belief, and this one is huge. We are social animals, right? And the expectations of the people around us, our family, our friends, they have this massive and often totally unconscious impact on what we think is possible for ourselves.
I mean, just look at these examples. Statistically speaking, becoming an NFL quarterback or president of the United States is basically impossible. But for the Manning kids, or for George W. Bush, it probably felt achievable. Why? Because success at that level was totally normalized in their world. They saw it up close, which created this incredibly powerful social belief that, yeah, people like us do this.
Okay, so you believe it's probable, and the people in your life expect you to do it. There is one last, absolutely critical piece of the puzzle: ability belief. This is all about you. It's your personal, honest assessment of your own competence. Do you deep down believe you have the skills, the smarts, the resources to actually pull this off? It's that quiet voice that asks, am I really capable?
And honestly, has anyone ever summarized this better than Henry Ford? This isn't just some feel-good, catchy phrase. It's like a fundamental law of how we operate. What you believe about your own ability, well, it tends to become a self-fulfilling prophecy.
But here's the really cool part that most people miss. Ability belief isn't just about the skills that you have right now. Ford himself wasn't an expert in everything. His real genius was his belief that he could assemble a team of people who had the skills he lacked. So his ability was his power to gather capability. And when you get that, that's when all 3 of these beliefs really lock into place.
So, we have these 3 incredibly powerful beliefs running the show under the surface. The big question now is, what do we do about it? How do we go from just understanding this stuff to actually putting it into action?
Well, here's how it all fits together in a sequence. It all starts with those hidden core beliefs.
They act like a filter for reality, and they create your overall attitude towards something. And it's that attitude that ultimately fuels or kills your action. So notice the order. It's crucial. Beliefs create attitude, and attitude drives action, not the other way around.
And this brings us to what might be the single most important takeaway here. The starting line for real change isn't trying to force a new action. That's just going back to polishing the tip of the iceberg. The real first step is to do a kind of belief assessment, to actually bring to light the unconscious beliefs that are already steering your bus.
So here's the first gut check question to ask yourself right now. This question is designed to find your hidden fears, because sometimes, weirdly enough, we have an unconscious belief that getting what we want will actually have a negative consequence, and that belief just sabotages the whole project from the start.
Okay, next gut check. This time, look backward. Ask yourself, what past experiences might be coloring how I see this current goal? So often, a failure from years ago creates a limiting belief that quietly leaks into our present and makes us doubt what's possible in the future. And finally, here's a really powerful reframing tool. Take a limiting belief you know you have, something like, I'm not good enough to do this. And just for a second, challenge yourself. What if the total opposite of that were actually more true? Just entertaining that possibility can start to loosen the grip of the old belief and open up a whole new reality. And that kind of leaves us with this final thought to chew on. Most of us, we treat our goals as impossible until we somehow prove they're possible. But what if we just flipped that script entirely? What if we walked into our ambitions with the default belief that they are totally possible and it's up to the world to prove us wrong? That one little shift? Well, that might just be the most powerful motivational tool there is.